In the previous lesson, we saw how we can use add-ons for geometry nodes and in general also for Blender. And we experimented with some of those also using scattering, and also we created our own custom scattering effect using nodes. Now in this video, we're going to continue to see which other resources we can use in studying and applying nodes, etc., etc. Like for example, Blenderkit up here. So I'm going to show you, and also how we can bake some of our geometry node in order to increase the performance and make things a little less heavier. You can see it's like lagging a little bit right now. So I'm going to show you then after baking, we can make things a little bit less heavy. So I've already applied a bake node here. So let's start with baking. So what I'm going to do is just delete this and reapply the instance right here. Again, this is something we developed in the previous lesson. So if you go back, you can see how this is done, but it's really easy scatter effect using geometry nodes and assets that we got from external sources. So what I'm going to do here is just drag a bake node. So I'm going to go to add and type bake, or we can go to geometry here, add node, geometry, and operations, and bake. So this is a geometry operation, meaning that we're gonna affect the geometry. And so I'm gonna click here and drop it between these two nodes. So this is the final join geometry node, and this is the bake. Well, we can also put it somewhere else, and whatever we put it is going to bake whatever it's before. So if I put it here, it's gonna bake everything that's on the left right here. So the initial surface where we scatter the geometry and also the various copies. So let me just bake. So you can see here we have a button. So if you just click, now we baked frame 1, as it says, and you will see that it's going to be a little less heavy when you move around. Now, you can also delete the bake and you can bake again. You can bake still, so meaning something that is not moving, and also you can bake animation. If you bake still, you also have a couple of options here. So let's go in the modifiers tab. So you can see if you expand this, you have a bake section right now. And you have two options. You can bake inside the Blender file with the packet option, or you can bake to disk. Bake to disk means that you're gonna store this information in your disk, so you can also pick a folder. So in my case, I created a specific folder that I called like this, but you can call it bake. And so if I say accept, this is where my baked stuff is going to go. And every time I reopen this file, I need to retrieve that in order to use it. So if you want to keep it with you with your file, it's better to do packet rather than disk. So what happens when I bake? Well, essentially, again, it's going to make your performance a little bit better, especially with really heavy nodes, meaning really heavy procedural operation. It's going to make it less heavy. But on the other end, you will not be able to see procedural stuff and real-time changes to what you're doing. So for example, in this specific scene, which is really, really heavy, by the way, let's say that I want to change the seed of this. You can see nothing is happening. If I change the seed, or if I want to change, let's see here, the rotation. So you can see nothing is happening if I change these values, these attributes, and this is for the scale. Again, nothing is happening because I baked that into something static. It is not real time anymore. If I deactivate the bake, if I delete the bake, if I just get rid of this node, what's going to happen is that I can return to the classic situation. So again, if I go here and change the seed, you can see that it's changing. And also if I change the rotation, you can see this is now affecting the copies and also the sizing. So essentially when you bake, you will lose temporarily the possibility to see everything real time, to work procedurally, etc., but you will gain performance from your scene, from the 3D viewport and everything else, the software in general. Now let's recap some of the previous lessons. We talk about extensions, how we can get extensions like themes and add-ons, and how we can install it, and specifically for nodes, but also for other stuff in Blender. So this is first option. And then we also have Gumroad, which is a website where we can get 3D assets, but also nodes and much, much more. And in this case, we have free, and also we have assets that are for sale. Similarly, we have another option, which is called Superhive. And this was formerly called Blender Market. So is where we got other add-ons before. Now it's called Superhive. So how does it work? Pretty simple. So you can see this is the website. You can reach it using search engine. And we have add-ons, we have models, surfacing, modifier setups, render setups, training, etc., etc. So I would go here and go for add-ons if we are looking for add-ons. And here you type the add-on that you're looking for. Otherwise, the topic like geometry nodes, for example, and you just do a research. And there you go. We have a bunch of those. And you can see these are for sale. But if we go up here, we can say price low to high. And so it's going to start with the free assets, 0 cost, and then like assets from 0 to 10, etc., etc. So I've chosen a couple, but you can continue to search for like the most interesting one. And I'm also going to show you some others that could be interesting for sale. So this one here, or it's could be interesting. It's called Engon, and it has a free version, but also you have like different packages with the also like possibility to scatter things in your scene, and then you have you can import assets like people, vehicles. You can click the asset around. And also if you like this sort of stuff, I suggest you have a look to Twinmotion. You find the Twinmotion video course in the channel. So let me just proceed. Okay, so to download this, and in this case I've chosen that one, and so Engon and Blenderkit also. I think it's probably one of the best out there because it gives you a lot of free assets and for brushing, sculpting, modeling, texturing, and much, much more. So you can click here when you see something. This is the Blender kit free. So you click and you can add this to your cart. And then if you go here, you can see it. You need to create an account or log in if you already have it. To create an account, you just need an email and define a username, and that's it. Once you finish, you click here, continue to check out. Again, you need to log in. But anyway, once you're finished, it's going to go in the downloads. So you will see it here downloading, and it's going to be a zipped folder. So once you finish to download, don't unzip the zipped folder because you can install it. That's going to be an add-on. And so I chosen to show you Blenderkit and Engon. So same thing, you go to add to cart, etc., etc. And some other suggestions, well, these are packages for Engon. You have Botanic, and then you have car libraries,